Hey, good afternoon, more Medic One. Today we've got quite a few things on the to-do list. We've got a bunch of bicycles to fix over here, and my shop is a freaking mess right now. I've just got a lot of boxes that we need to unpack from a move, and I got some lights to put up. But today we're working on an Echo SRM 210i, and it's got a pretty severe fuel leak. And the first thing that I noticed was that the fuel lines are just shrunk and the rubber grommets all cracked, but the fuel leak I do believe is a little deeper than that. So let's go ahead and we're going to replace this grommet and fuel line assembly, and then we're going to pressure up the fuel tank with my Echo pressure tester, which is right here, and we'll pressure up the tank, and we'll squirt some water and soapy water, see if we can't get it to bubble up, and see if we have to replace this tank or not. Let's go ahead and pop the air filter off just so we can gain a little access to the fuel line grommet better. It's unseasonably cold today. It's about 43 degrees outside. Check this air filter. It's not too bad. Rubber's kind of hard, but we'll probably end up replacing it. All you got to do is just take you a screwdriver and just pry out the grommet. Unhook it from your carburetor. And as we can tell, if I can get a zoomed in shot of that, that grommet's pretty cracked around there, wore out, rotted. I've got my new hose assembly with a new grommet, and it's got a new Walbro style fuel filter. I think the part number is 90096 in the Echo part numbers, but what you want to do is just make sure that this is good and clean. I like to orient my fuel hoses to where these two hoses are facing towards the back of the trimmer, so when you feed it down in there, in the hole here, put just a little bit of penetrating oil to help lubricate that grommet. Like so. And sometimes these are a royal pain to get in, but they will go in there. Just have to work it around there with a screwdriver. Come on, baby. Oh, there we go. Get on that there. I find that it's easier to pull the assembly apart and put the grommet in, and then feed your fuel lines in the grommet. Once you get them stuck down in there, you can go through the fuel cap. And you can grab it with a pair of HEMOSTATs. Apologize if my head gets in the way here just for a second. pull down, and then you can pull it out. Just enough to hook to your carburetor. What you want to do is you want to cut this flat to install the fuel filter, and then you can shove that back down in the tank. Make sure it goes down in the tank flat. Use your hemostats to do that. Your vent line or your fuel return line do the same thing. I like to just cut just a little bit at an angle, lubricate it. What's the matter, Sarge? Come here, Sarge. Do the same thing with the discharge line. Just pull your hemostats, get that line started. There we go. Pull it down a little bit more. Make sure you don't have your other fuel line in your deal there. Pull it down. Get you another bite if you have to, but I think that's down in there far enough. Now I'm going to take you off the tripod real quick. Let me show you an easy way to figure out which way your lines go. Since this is going to be your discharge line, what you want to do, you can actually just hit your primer bulb just a little bit, so we know that the discharge line side of the carburetor is here. And you see how you have that little crook in it? You want to pull that line through the tank again until that crook is gone. You don't want any kinks in your fuel lines. So just pull it down, just like that right there. Now we need to install the vent line, but we're going to take the vent out of it so we can pressure up the fuel tank. The way we'll pressure this fuel tank up, we're going to take the vent out of this line right here. And out of your Echo kit, we're going to install this cone adapter. And then the thumb pump pressure gauge. As you can tell, we can't get it to hold anything. Pump it real fast and it just falls. So therefore we know we've either got a carburetor problem or the fuel tank's got a crack in it. I'll pinch this line off right here to prove that the gauge actually works. See how it holds? Okay, so let me get a bottle of soapy water and see if we can't figure out where this tank is leaking from. Go ahead and remove the two bottom tank straps screws, and they are usually on there pretty good. They're 3mm headed Allens. Be super careful not to snap these off. Just be real gentle with it. This one's on there pretty good. Just work it back and forth. Like so. Just to get those threads unlocked from the corrosion, rust and whatnot. I think we've got it now. I have snapped these off in the past and they're not fun to get out. Plus they've got this Loctite on them from the factory. Come on, get off my screwdriver. There we go. Next, what we're going to do, we're just going to take and bend this back just enough to get the fuel tank out of there. And it's okay to do this. I do it all the time. The reason being is that if you don't, you have to take all the starter off. You have to take the starter assembly, then you have to take the starter cup. Just bend that back just enough to get that fuel tank out of there. It's not going to hurt a dadgum thing. Now just remove the 2 fuel tank retaining bolts. And just hang on to those. Don't lose these. One there. And one on the other side. So just flip her over. And it's right in through here. There's the bolt. Whoop, and don't drop it. Disconnect your fuel lines, and then it's out of there. So, as we can tell, and we'll do a little bit more digging here in just a minute. See how it's all wet right here around where it mounts, where this thing clamps onto the engine, and all the vibration over the years, these tanks will eventually just crack. So we got it out, we got the tank on the bench. Let's go ahead and try to pump it up again and see if we can get it to bubble up with some soapy water. Always keep you a couple of extra of these vents around for plugging fuel lines. What they do, they allow atmospheric pressure in, but it won't let pressure out of the tank. So therefore, whenever we go to hook this up, I'm going to have 2 tank vents, as you can tell, just to plug it off, or you can use a golf tee or just whatever you have laying around. But we're going to pressure this up and put the fuel cap back on here. And let's just see what we got. Well, it's very obvious where it's leaking. Actually, you could have seen it. I'm pressuring it up. And as you can tell, if I can get that soapy water rolled around there, it's leaking right out of them cracks right there. So what it's doing, when this thing is running, it's just, you really couldn't tell, because all this was just wet, just like, and dirty, just like this right here, all over, and it was hard to see those cracks until I got it washed off. But this is gonna have to have a new tank. You can't, I haven't been able to ever fix one because the crack is all the way through the tank. Got the new tank in, it's Genuine Echo, and the part number is going to be right there, A350000220. And it's just like the factory original. And basically we'll just install it the same way we took it off. Alrighty guys, so I just noticed something when I was tightening up the new fuel tank. As you can tell, look at the old tank. It's got 2 offset bushings. This tank does not. So I don't know if I ordered the wrong tank, if it was broken down by serial numbers or what. But what's happening is the screws are bottoming out before the tank tightens up and the tank's loose. So what we'll have to do is pop these standoff bushing / spacer assemblies out of the old tank and put them in the new tank. Just take one of your 3mm screws, stick it in there, and basically just tap it out with your pair of pliers or something. They're not, they're not in there just Superman tight, and it just pops them right out of there. What you'll do is take your old bushing, and literally you're going to use this as a driver to push the new one out and push the old one back in. Just go ahead and get it pressed in there. Pull the old one out. And just like that, she'll go right in. Go ahead and install your new fuel tank, like yay. Start your screws, and the most important part of this job is not to over tighten the screws. Go ahead and get your tank strap put back in place and start your screws. I just want to thank all my subscribers. Yesterday I broke 25,000 subscribers, which is a milestone. I never thought this channel would go that far, but I didn't build this channel to make money, and it's fun and it's an experience. And back in '09 when I started this channel, I started it as a hobby, so, and one day Google AdSense sent me an email and said, hey, we noticed that you have X amount of subscribers per month. Do you want to join AdSense? So I said, well, yeah, I guess. So been there ever since, and if it wasn't for y'all, this channel wouldn't, be existing. Go ahead and install your new fuel air filter. Go ahead and do a cold start. Turn your switch on, choke it, purge all the air out of the fuel system. About half choke. Old Echo. If you have any questions about lawn equipment, weed eater, 2 cycles in general, let me know. Mower Medic 1. Y'all have a superb day.